Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we have two very special guests joining in, just coming out of the qualifiers, very fresh and bagging the top six and the top seven and eight spot. So joining me today we have Jayden and Chris Lopez. So how are you guys doing? How are you, Jayden? How are the qualifiers?
I'm good, thank you very much for asking. The qualifiers went really well, yeah. I finished top 7/8 and I bagged myself $1,500 and 540 pro points.
Yep. And what about you, Chris Lopez? You're yeah, you were in the NA region, qualifier number 2. So how do you get
Yeah.
along?
First of all, I'm doing good, thank you. For my last qualifier, I did finish sixth in North America, which gave me a huge boost from placements due to the first qualifier. I couldn't play. I think I went from 200th to like top 16, I think now.
Yep.
So yeah, it was good. $1,000, and it was a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so along the way, I seen you faced pretty decent players. One of them was, I think, Roxanne,
Yeah.
and that game, I think, was one of the top hot favorites. So how was the game?
Yeah, it was at first because I came into mind because I knew how he played prior to the game, and I kind of had a game plan.
Yep.
But he ended up like switching last minute to the 5-3-2,
Ah,
and it caught me off guard. And so I played the game. I tried to play the game safe, and I was a bit too conservative that game. And when I started attacking, that's when I started building up my game. But it was kind of a little too late. Ended up 2-1. But
yeah.
yeah.
So Jayden, how's the whole experience? We know you faced. I mean, I think a lot of top players in the region,
Mm-hmm.
and coming out,
Yeah.
you're just young into the scene. You just started out, and I'm sure there would have been a lot of nerves also, because I think this was the first qualifier that you played on a competitive level. So how did you manage?
It was a really great experience. Like I, for the first time in my start of FIFA Pro, I played the way you should, and like with help with like a fellow pro by my side, we just took it game by game, and it was just like a great experience all round. Like I learned new things, and like I was just playing like where I felt I should be.
Yep. And we know that it's only been less than a year since you've both joined the team, and we've seen the progress. So how has NFG helped you? Because I think we have a Clev also. I think the new coach in house, he's been working with you closely. So do you think that sort of helped in your experience in getting quite good at the qualifiers? Because we've seen the progress. The year didn't start out too well, and I'm sure things have not been kind, because I think both of you got the coronavirus too. So bouncing
Yeah.
back from that, coming into a new top esports team run by a professional footballer and reaching that level where you actually can back yourself now, you're among the top favorites now in the region. So how has the whole journey been, and any challenges that you faced, Chris?
Yeah, obviously it was hard because when I had the COVID, it was during the week of the qualifiers. And then after the qualifiers, my account got hacked and I couldn't play for a whole month. And I got my account back, I think 3 days prior to qualifiers. So I had to buy my team back, rush, practice, and yeah. But now I'm catching rhythm, and now I'm feeling confident for what's next.
Yeah. Jayden, what about you? Any challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, 100%. So like I wasn't the best player when I joined NFG, and like I was good, but I wasn't great. And then with the help of the new coach Clev, we like every like week, every like 1 or 2 times a week, we would like look over like best of twos against like top players, and like he would teach me like how to defend and like how to like play more patient and stuff, and like what you should do and stuff, and it just like really benefited my game. And like I've changed from like the first two qualifiers where I didn't really do too well because I just didn't know what I was doing right and didn't know what I was doing wrong. And then I looked at this qualifier and it was just a completely different story.
So you've reached where you wanted to be. You've made some decent progress. So where do we go from here? What's the future for you?
So with the pro points from the last qualifier, it's put me from 170th to like the top 40, and that's like where I need to be in order to reach the playoffs for the final tournament that comes up in like the end of the FIFA scene for this year, and it's where like all the big players from like all the best players from like each region come together, and it's a massive tournament with the biggest prize pool. So like my aim for the rest of the season is to have another two consistently good qualifiers, which can keep me in the top like 50, and then I can get into the playoffs and then hopefully do very well in it.
Yeah. And Chris, so I think looking at the past two performances, I think would it be safe to say that you're in a safe spot to, if provided your next two qualifiers go decently well, you'll be able to qualify for the playoffs, or is it still a bit of in the gray?
Yeah, I just need to place like you said, a decent rank in the next two, and I should be fine for playoffs. Yeah.
All right. So now, so you got $1,500 and you got $1,000, right? I know it's not that much, but how do you plan to spend it? Again, put it back on FIFA, or just have a good time, take some time off FIFA?
I'm probably like going to save it for next year, to be honest, some of it, and then I'll save some of it for like the next year, so that I have that ability to have the FIFA points at the start, and then I'll probably save the rest for whatever I need it for, really.
Chris, how do you plan to spend that? I know it's not a life-changing amount, but
that money just gonna be saved. It's just gonna be saved, and yeah, no more FIFA points this year.
Oh, actually, yeah, I think you both have spent a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So, now the qualifiers, they had like in the NA region and the EU region, again, the best players, and I'm sure you must have had nerves. So Jayden, specifically, would you like to name some of the games which were quite intense for you, and how did you manage to?
I had a few crazy games, to be honest. So first off, I was in the winner bracket round 5, and it was the final game to make it into the day 2, and I went into the second leg being 3-1 down. So I decided to switch formation, and then I switched to the 4-3-1-2, which I now use normally. And then I was against a player named Faye Ryan, who plays for Feyenoord, who's a top player. And then I came out and was just a completely different player and won the leg 7-2. So I won overall 8-5. And then in the winner bracket round 6, which was the first game of the next day, I matched the 10th seed, Behl from Israel, who is an amazing player. He finished top 8 in the last qualifier and like top 12 in the one before that. Crazy player. And I was 5-2 down the second half of the second leg. So I had 45 minutes to bring it back. And somehow, keeping my mentality well, I scored 4 goals and went through. And it was crazy.
So Chris, in particular, like you've I think you also faced some of the top players. So any challenging games?
Yeah, besides my first game, I think every game was a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I came here as like the lowest seed, probably one of the lowest seeds, and for the second qualifier, and so I had to play every round after the first, probably like the top 12, top 15 players, and I was just happy with my consistency, beating all the players. I beat the second rank, I believe the 5th rank, and then yeah, all of them between 2 and 10, and then qualified for the event. And now I'm in a good position.
Yeah. So as you said, right, you already knew that you were going to be like faced up, and the odds will be against you because there'll be so many good players. So this time, what did you do differently? Did you play the name or did you play the game this time?
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Good job. So I said that you faced, again, some really deadly players, and it must have been tough. So how do you tackle that? Do you not play the name because these names are quite big? So do you just like take it game by game, cutting out all the clutter around, that I'm going to be facing the 5th best player in NA?
Nah, every time I play qualifiers, I just get into a mentality like it doesn't matter who I play, I'm just gonna go and win. That day I just felt like I knew I was gonna qualify just because of my mentality, and how I started off the second round, and game by game, I was just getting better. And yeah, I don't play by the name, I play by the game.
Yep, absolutely. So, sort of mentality do you think helps? Because, a lot of players would be looking up to you, and you've made that progression because you guys were not big names when you joined. You've
Yeah.
built your name up. You've, practiced so much that you actually got to that level. So, do you think mentality plays a huge role?
Yeah, I think this game mentality plays a huge part. Before the game, if you're thinking about, oh, I'm playing this guy, before the game starts, you most likely lost already. So yeah, I learned that by experience playing prior qualifiers, and just confident each game. It's all about confidence.
Yep. So, Jayden, I'd like you to comment. So, there are games, obviously, and in a qualifier, I don't expect any game to be easy. So there would be times in the game when you're down, as you mentioned that you're 3-1 down at one point of time. You're thinking of all the bad things which could happen. You could get knocked out from the qualifier. Go home with empty-handed. So what do you do? How do you control your mind when you're in that sort of a situation?
So like what I did was I take a pause, and the pause like gives you a minute, I think, and I just break and just thought about what was going on, and I talked to my friend who was watching the game and talking to me with it, and we just talked about what was going on and like what we really needed to do to change like this game. So like change subs, like get new players on, and like maybe new tactics, etc. And just like talk about like what we can do to change the game and win it in the end. And somehow I did it about 6-7 times this weekend.
Yeah. So I think that was great to learn. So I think that's part of the warrior mentality that we had, because both of you had coronavirus. You fought that. You came back into the scene. And yeah, it's been great. So apart from that, how are you managing your time? I know it's lockdown, not much to do. So Chris, what do you do apart from FIFA these days?
Apart from FIFA, I try to. Well, before the snow started here, I was playing football in real life. Uh, there's like this league, like indoor league, and yeah, just doing that. Not much, to be honest.
Are you as good as at football as you are at FIFA, or you're better?
Nah, man, I wish I was.
I think that's why most of us pick up the controllers, because it's easier to run with a press of a button, yeah, rather than
Exactly.
So Jayden, even I know, I think even you play football, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
But not a good time, right? Because of the snow in the UK.
it's not a good time. A mix of lockdown and the snow stopped me from playing football for a bit. But I try to play as much as possible when I'm out, because I don't really get to do much else, to be honest, because everywhere's shut. But apart from that, all I do is just school, FIFA, and football.
Yeah. So how many hours are you putting into FIFA every day? Is it like a fixed schedule, or you're just like winging it and going to a free flow whenever you feel like playing?
Right now, so like usually I have school until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'll probably play like 4 to like 8, 9, or 10, just like around that area. But like right now, I just do that every day. To be honest, that's all I like do. I just get a few hours practice against like top players, and then that's all I know.
Chris, what about you?
Oh.
Say hi to Milo.
No,
Yeah.
my
um, apart from the beginning of the game, nowadays I don't really play the game much besides weekend league, and now here they're starting to pick up, just like in EU, like pro tourneys in NA. They're starting to do it. Like I think they started one last week, and they're getting into it just like EU. So I'm gonna get into that. But besides weekend league, it's just not much really, just here and there.
Yeah. So you don't like to burn out with playing too much of FIFA. I don't think that helps also, right?
Yeah, it definitely does.
Right. So again, great to have you both on, and it was a pleasure to speak to you. And you've made like really good progress ever since you've joined the team. And yeah, would like to see you make it to the playoffs and hopefully get the title this time. Come on, guys, bring it home.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So thanks for joining in, and hopefully see you next week.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.